Yeah, it'll be a little bit too much green.
A little too much green, but on the other
You
hand,
pop so well. I think the pink pops.
And why am I all black?
you're not black.
I have no,
We are live
for
on
you,
Facebook.
Barbara.
so I can't see
On
me
the
at
new
all.
computer.
Can
You
you
can't see
see
you?
me?
I can see you.
All right, then I'm not going to worry about it.
It's so weird.
Oh, there I
Barbara,
am.
How's
Okay.
that?
There we
How's
go.
that
All right.
investing in that high tech stuff working out for you?
Ah, today, this is, I mean, new computer. We'll talk about it.
We're
Okay.
talking about it right now. We're live.
We're live.
Live.
All right,
Live
introduce
and
us.
talking about how never mind. I'll phrase it. How's your wealth impacted by your health? That's how
Yeah.
it's.
And my thing for today is, don't you just love technology and new things, new toys. So I'm Barbara Ellison, and I am your personality pro. And my new toy is I just got myself a new MacBook Air. Absolutely love it. Don't know how to put anything into it. So consequently, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this show. And so thank goodness that Jason is doing the recording.
Because you have no idea where it would go.
No idea where to go. Okay, I'm going to tell on myself before we introduce Lana.
It's okay.
I am, it's all about, like business. And so when I'm going to be doing some traveling, and so I needed a new laptop. My laptop died. And so I needed a new laptop. And so, got all sorts of, information and people's opinions. And then went to the store, and the guy I happened to run into a friend of mine from church. And I said to him, I said, gee, Andy, do you know anything about computers? And he said, no, not so much. He said, I do know that Mallory has a MacBook Air. I said, fine. Well, then one of the little Best Buy guys came up. And so Andy looked right at him and said, so are you a computer expert? And he said, as a matter of fact, I am. I went, well, then I am talking to the right person. He gave me all of the right information, all the things that I was going to need. What was I going to be doing? So got this great computer. And with the money that he saved me from what I thought I was going to spend, I bought my Blue Yeti microphone. I'm so excited. So this was a good deal. So then I came home and said, okay, well, I'm just going to set this up. So I set it up, thinking to myself, I don't want to have to put in an access code every time I do it. So didn't want to have to do it. Well, then I went back into it yesterday morning, couldn't get into my brand new computer because it gave me a code, which I, of course, had no idea what it was. Back off to Best Buy, and I said, can you fix this? How am I going to get into this computer? He said, well, we're going to have to wipe it. Have you done anything? I said, I only bought it last night. I just got this home. There's absolutely nothing on. He said, fine, we'll just wipe it and you'll start over again. So now I know my code to open up my computer. See, I've come a long way in a few hours.
I geek out to all that stuff. I had a Blue Yeti and a brand new computer. I probably wouldn't even be on the show. I'd be sitting there playing with it.
Yeah.
You'd call me at 4:30, like, where are you at? I'm like, oh, I lost all track of time.
Awesomeness. Anyways, so Jason, introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce Lana.
I'm Jason Tracey, and we're here every week at 4 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock Barbara's time. Where are you at, Lana?
I am
Lana Banana.
In central Alberta, Canada, and it is, so guess what time it is for me?
2. All right.
Right. We got 3 time zones here. So good.
Love it. I love it. That's one of the coolest things about our conversations is where is everybody coming from?
Yeah. It is.
And worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Lana and Barbara, how do you know each other?
We met each other in Well, it was a class. I am in a class of from Steve Erickson. Lana is in a class from what was his name?
James Lamb.
James Lamb.
I think that's how we met, isn't it?
Right. Well, James and Steve are kind of joint venture partners.
Oh, okay.
Well, Steve, one couple of Tuesdays ago, Steve was not going to be able to do his class, our class with him. So he arranged for us to be in James's class, and that's where I met Lana. And we just hit it off and said, and here we are, divine intervention.
Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that part, Barb. That's very neat.
Yeah, because I reached out to you because I loved what you were talking about in the class. I mean, we only had a couple of seconds but we all got to say something about what we did. And I went, I need to have this girl on our show. And here she is.
Ta-da.
Amazing. Divine intervention. And then the connections, right? Steve was our guest last week.
Oh, neat. Oh, that's cool. Well, I feel very honored to be on this stage. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And the funny part was, Lan, I'm going to tell on Jason. Last week when we had Steve on, he went, oh, Steve Erickson. He said, gee, is his wife Jenny, who he had on his podcast, 2 weeks before that? Yeah,
a couple of weeks before that. Yeah. And meeting her through you, because being on this show, that was the very first time I was on the show. And Jenny reached out to me. She's like, I saw you on Barb's show, and I loved what you guys were talking about. And we ended up having a really cool conversation. And then as I was putting it together, I was talking to Steve. We were waiting for you, Barbara. And I'm like, wait a minute. He's in Norway. Wait a minute. Are you Jenny's husband? So yeah, crazy how small and connected the world is.
It really is.
When you're finding the right people. Finding that alignment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool. As much as I have felt very disconnected over the last year in a lot of ways, that has been at moments emotionally quite challenging. As soon as I step back and think about the individuals I have met virtually, I am overwhelmed I just really appreciate
gratitude.
It. Yeah.
The friends that I have made over this past year on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's there's no words to describe. That's like Jason and I, we hit it off right away. And Jason, it's been 3 months for us that we've known each other?
It has, yeah.
Holy schmackers. And have you two ever met literally?
In person? No.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. And Jason was going to be, I used to do this show with another friend of mine. And the week that Jason was supposed to come on, he couldn't, something with tech, couldn't come on. And so Pat and I said, oh, you know what, Jason, come on next week. Well, on that Saturday night, she was tragically killed in a car accident. Yeah. I was devastated. Oh, now what? But Jason, I said, Jason, you know what? Come on and come in as my guest host. And he's never left.
I moved my stuff in. You can see I put books on the shelf and like.
Well, that's a little bit of sugar in amongst some sour stuff, some sad stuff, and
it was devastating.
Yeah.
So cool. I still go to pick up the phone to call her because she was my best friend. She was my best business friend.
She was your bestie.
She was my bestie, and but Jason has graciously stepped in, and it's been fun. It really has been
good.
Well, let's talk about you. Let's find out about you.
Lana Banana.
Find out about you.
Yeah, Lana Banana. It's the easiest way to figure out the pronunciation. And thank you, first of all, for asking how to pronounce. And it's just an easy way to correlate. So I'm Lana Kirtley, Empowering Health Journeys. And what do I do? My jam is helping women with their stress-related health issues and getting through that, and to go from overwhelmed, tired, fatigued, to thriving, to being vibrant, to feeling like they are worthy beings of up-leveling their game. Now, my primary focus is women, But there are aspects of Empowering Health Journeys that are quite literally outside of the fatigue and the adrenal and the stress and the nutrition. I just like helping people. I just like putting people in front of people to say, if this resonates, go and talk to this doctor, go and talk to this practitioner, go and talk to this person, because my heart is, to give some context, I live in rural Alberta, Canada. I love where I live, but my options of health and well-being are somewhat limited within the literal geographic context of where I live. And I had to step outside of this community to get some answers. And if you ever listen to me interviewing, you'll hear me, what I call my brain farts. I lose my connection with words. I can't find words, which is an ongoing aspect of the fatigue that I am learning, another step in my journey, how to figure out. But I had to step outside of my community to find the help that didn't stop at my thyroid or what most functional medicine or the people I've interviewed for this conference would have, we now all say is kind of a surface issue for something that is substantially deeper in the system within. And when I say the system, traditional Western medicine, and I'm grateful for the complementary medicine world. I am truly grateful for it. So Western medicine initially broke out the systems of the body to try and make some sense of it. And that's a great first step, that absolutely. But now, as our science evolves even further, they realize how interconnected those systems are. The aspects of thinking and clarity of thinking, and whether our gut is working properly, and whether we are consuming our nutrients properly, and how our nerves are dealing with emotions and stress and all of those things. It's a very complex and yet beautiful vessel that we pack around, that we have ownership over managing and looking after. Right. And that's where Empowering Health Journeys is. That one aspect is, I don't need to be the go-between. I just want people to know that there are options. Right. Here are, as I talk to people, oh my God, I wonder if so-and-so might be able to help you out. I wonder what this might do for your health and wellness. Whether it's a man that's dealing with high blood pressure, maybe suicidal thoughts. Maybe it is a woman that's dealing with fertility issues that is hormone-based, but is not my direct zone of adrenal and chronic fatigue. There's some other underlying. And all I want people to understand is, I guess fundamentally, there is a difference between a diagnosis and a prognosis.
Right.
So what we call those, oh my goodness, that's a miracle. How did they do that? Those miracles are within us. Very often, there is opportunities for miracles within us.
So what's the difference between a diagnosis and a prognosis?
So the diagnosis would be saying, you've got high blood pressure. You're going to be on these statin meds forever.
And that's usually what they're told.
Yep, absolutely.
Go home and live with it.
Yep, go home and live with it. Here, your thyroid, which is quite often the testing is TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, which is actually not the thyroid. it is the pituitary gland sending a signal to the thyroid to get in motion, but the thyroid is not absorbing that hormone, and that's why TSH might be high. So, but the TSH, we don't prop up the thyroid. We go further and we say, okay, what's happening with the adrenals? What's going on with this HPAT axis, which is several glands, hormone stimulating glands. What's going on with that axis? And let's dig deeper into that. It's talking
like what's
about
behind the symptoms. It's kind of like what's behind the symptom.
That's right. Your thyroid, your TSH number might be high or low, hyper or hypo, but it's not that the thyroid's not working. There's something else happening behind the signal that we need to better understand. And that's why I look at the difference between the diagnosis of high blood pressure and you're going to be on a statin. FYI, some men might have erectile issues. Some men might have arthritic type symptoms. The reality is that if we can get back at what's going on with the high blood pressure, what is creating this excessiveness of pump and pressure, it might be that an artery is blocked with some plaque. But what if we looked at an herb concoction? What if we looked at what their stress levels were? What if we looked at what herbs, supplements, what breathing might be able to do for them in terms of drop? I just read an article and passed it on to a male friend. And it was talking about a breathing exercise process that actually was more effective than the drugs at reducing high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. It's that difference of here's a prescription, right. Here's some other, you might have to do the prescription. I'm not saying that that's always the case, but maybe, just maybe, there's some more natural options that don't have as many side effects as the little piece of paper you pull out with your prescription.
Right.
Which then leads to more prescriptions, by the way.
Pardon?
Which then leads to more prescriptions, by the way.
Right.
I remember I'll never forget when my grandma passed away and the coroner came to the house and asked my mom what prescriptions was she on. My mom pulled out this bin that was literally that big.
Yes.
And it was filled with prescriptions that she took every day. And I'm like, oh my God, my grandma was Michael Jackson. Like all these drugs, that is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I remember one time I got a sinus infection. So they gave me something for the sinus infection. Well, that irritated my stomach. So then they gave me something for my stomach. Well, that gave me a yeast infection. So they gave me something for the yeast infection, and that offset what was happening in my sinuses. So 5 months later, I am now on 5 medications, and I still have the sinus infection. And that's when I looked at my doctor and I said, there has got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And that's when I really became an advocate of let's look for some alternatives. Let's see what nutrition can do. And I was introduced to a wonderful product. And so, and I've since changed products. However, the mindset behind it is still the same.
Yes. Yes.
Unless you prove to me that I absolutely have to take this medication, I'm not taking it. Well, because I'll just take more of my nutritionals than to take the medication.
Well, and it's one of those situations that when we know better, we do better.
Yeah.
When somebody helps us understand that there are options, that we are worthy of those options. And I don't profess that everybody else go out and become a certified health coach like myself. We all have our zones of genius.
Right.
But if you're going to hire a business mentor to help you make strategic business moves, is it of value to maybe put a health coach in your back pocket to consider, or a functional medicine doctor or something of the sort, a naturopath, something of the sort that can help you stand back and go, well, I wonder if.
Right.
For my example, when I finally did some testing, I had adrenal fatigue, but at the same time, I had iron levels that were like in the heels of my boots. They were that low. I learned about magnesium. I learned about omega-3. Then, and that made some shifts. Plus I had somebody say to me, you need to get your sleep straightened around. Like, you can't do what you're doing with lack of sleep. And that's part of what I talk about within my programs. But the other part was, you talked about food sensitivities. I figured out what my kryptonites were. And within 4 days, I took a migraine that would last 2 to 3 days down to a migraine once a month to once every 4 months.
Yeah.
By eliminating the foods that were triggering that. Sinuses.
That's me. I haven't had a migraine now. I used to have a migraine almost every month. In fact, I'm going to tell a story. That's how I knew my husband was going to marry me. He came over to take me out for dinner one night, and my roommate at the time she looked at me because David got there before I did. And I walked in the door and she looked at me, she looked at David and said, Barbara has a migraine. Don't talk to her. If she needs anything, she will tell you, and just leave her alone because she can't talk. Because Elizabeth had gone through this with me many times.
She knew what
she knew like. Just, David, this is what you do. Just leave her alone. If she needs something, she will tell you. I lay on the couch. Well, then, this is graphic. But when you have a migraine, and somebody that has a migraine, they know what I'm talking about. If you start to throw up, you're done. You're going to be throwing up forever.
Yep.
And David spent the entire evening with me sitting on my bathroom floor holding my stomach.
Wow.
Then Elizabeth and him poured me into bed. He called me the next day and said, are you okay? And I went, yeah, because then I'm in the aftermath.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. And then his telling question was, do you get these often? And I went, as a matter of fact, yeah, pretty regularly. And he went, oh, okay. Well, Elizabeth got home later in the day, and she looked at me and she said, have you talked to David? And I said, yes. And she said, you do know that he is a keeper. And we were married for 20 years before he passed away, but that was something that he married me with and dealt with until I said, there has got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And because it was like, there has to be a better way. And
well, bless them. And you are 100% correct. And it's empowering. It's not always easy to dig to the base of those answers,
right.
But know that there are people out there that are willing to go to bat for you if you at least step into the space to say, there's got to be another option. There's got to be more answers behind this. Let's keep digging. Let's keep asking questions. And if your doctor goes, I don't know, that's not your trigger to say, well, if you don't know, then I concede. That's your trigger to say, love you. Thank you for being this part of my journey. I'm going to keep digging. I will find another doctor. I will find another practitioner of a different context, whatever the case might be. But I'm not one of my speakers for this conference, who is initially trained as a traditional Western medicine doctor, went through 6, and number 7 said, let's do some other testing. And she's in that zone. She's in that space. And she had to go through 6 to number 7.
No.
So you don't give up. Just trust that something's not right and just believe in it. Because how do you Barbara, how did those migraines affect your being as a
God.
business person, as
Oh.
as an employee.
Yeah, I was out of sick days. Or,
Right.
or else I had to go to work with the migraine and feeling terrible. And this is how graphic it was. There were some times where I would be in the middle of the day and it was like, you have to excuse me. And I would have to go to the bathroom to
Pearl,
upchuck
release.
because
Yep.
the migraines are so bad. It's just, it's your body's reaction. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Played havoc with me.
Right.
And my kids remember that. My kids remember me lying on the couch. Okay, guys, you can't talk to me. You can't, the house has to be completely quiet. Go get me ice chips. And I can remember them sitting, like I would be flat out on the couch and they would be sitting in front of me and just kind of, are you okay, Mom?
Yep.
And so frightened because because I couldn't function.
Yep. No, part of me, this will sound mean. I don't mean it. God bless them in terms of, well, they learned how to be caregivers. They learned how to have some compassion. But on the other hand, if you had been a business owner, you had to tap out on being on your own business, what happened?
Yeah. Right. You're not making money.
Right.
You're not serving your clients.
Right. Right. When I'm on the couch, I am not interviewing. I am not helping someone else.
Yeah.
I am barely helping myself.
Yeah.
It has a huge effect. And some people might say, oh, a migraine, come on. Well, if you're out for 2-3 days, that is a game changer. You're not making the same kind of decisions.
Right.
I know that I went through, and I still have moments of it. It's not as bad, but I still have moments of complete indecisiveness, overwhelm. Like pick up a piece of paper and write 10 notes on it and I'll get this dealt with. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm done. I can't deal with this anymore. So we might look like we're kind of functioning at work or within business, but how many things are we letting slide? How many times do we go, I don't know, just make a decision? How many times do we chew out an assistant or a co-worker or a co-owner because we're just not feeling
irritable? Yeah. So when did you get your diagnosis? Like how long ago did this happen? And then how did you then start? Were you doing something in health and wellness? I'm sorry, I have so many questions. Had you always been in health and wellness? And if not, how did you start doing what you're doing now?
Well, my journey includes that, always lots of interest in it. This tells you how old I was. I am. I was a certified step aerobics instructor at one point in time.
All right.
So I absolutely loved it. I loved the fitness. I loved the working out, changes in life. I end up in this small community that I'm in. I end up in a divorce. Still really interested in the health and well-being, doing presentations at work, but I'm no longer certified, nothing else. Go through a couple of career changes, less my choosing, but whatever. The journey is good. The journey is good in the grand scheme of things. Just at the time, it's very stressful. Mm-hmm. So I was looking at, I can't keep doing these career changes. What's going on? So I started, by then, I'm a single mom. I've taken on a home because I wanted a stable place to raise my son. I had enough from the divorce to invest in a house, but I have a mortgage. Then I end up with losing a job, laid off, and a $20,000 a year decrease in income. So the stress is starting to pile up, and and then another job layoff because bosses are moving out of town and they're not paying for me to move. And I'm going, well, I can't. If you're not paying for me to move, I can't just move for the joy of moving. So anyways, I'm looking and getting curious about this certified integrative nutrition health coach program. So I signed up for it. Dig cash out of a reservoir that is dwindling quickly. And invest. While I'm studying for that, I start to notice things like, okay, my sleep is a crap, but hey, whatever. I'm burning the candle. I'm trying to get lots done. I'm trying to pick up little odd jobs as a photographer, yada, yada. Then I look at the bathroom floor and I start giggling. I'm going, geez, I should be dyeing my hair white instead of black, because there are a lot. I am losing more than 100 hairs a day. There is no doubt about it. And I'm looking at my skin. I'm trying to eat less food because the belly bloat's coming on, yada, yada. As I finish up my certification program, a person in one of these virtual calls, which was back in 2017, she talks about this hormone test. And I'm a little over 50 at that point in time. And I'm going, oh, that'd be interesting. I'd love to know about that. Where do I find that? So I go digging and I find a lab that happens to be in Calgary, Alberta, that I can work through a local pharmacy here in small town Alberta. And I can do this saliva test. I call it a spit test because I'm redneck. I do the spit test, and at the same time, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, in order to get those answers, I'm going to have to find a naturopath outside of my community. But me being me, I go to the local medical doctor. I end up having to make a promise that I'll do a pap test as well, because I'm way overdue on the pap test. Just being transparent there. And I have them do some blood work so that I could have some comparison of some of these snapshots as compared to the saliva test, which is a 33-day, 11 sample scenario. Comes back. I've gotten all the blood work from the traditional Western medicine local lab. I go in to see the naturopath. He's looking at all the answers because I couldn't get those results without him or that business. And he goes, you have adrenal fatigue. And I go, what? And he goes, this sleep? You didn't notice the hair loss? And I told him the story and he goes, no, that's not normal. He says, the weight, the belly? I said, yeah, it's really pissing me off. Like it won't come off. And he goes, no, it's probably not for a little while yet. And I'm like, no. And he goes, yes, change your attitude. We got to figure this out. So going through that journey, and that's one of the things is I feel really blessed is that inquisitiveness is what gave me an answer. Otherwise, the local doctor would have stopped at the thyroid. And I love her. She's a lovely person.
Just didn't know
but
what
she
you
would
know.
have stopped there.
Yeah.
Because that's what her training is to do. Because lots say, well, it's not. And I want our listeners to understand that adrenal fatigue is not literally the adrenals are tired. It is a cortisol hormone imbalance that makes your body think that the tagger is always there because we keep replaying games, but it becomes a vicious cycle within that process. And in my case, I was doing like chiropractors every week. I was doing acupuncture. I was doing massage. And it took actually a dental hygienist to go, you're holding tension in your neck, but you're not grinding your teeth. And I left that appointment and went, wait a minute, I know what's going on here. Time to address that. So it was, and then it was approximately 8 months after the hormone testing and some answers that I turned around and went, okay, I cannot, something's still not right. I cannot figure out my kryptonites. I'm still getting way too many migraines. Something's not right. So did the food sensitivity test, figured out my kryptonites. Potatoes, eggs, gluten, a bunch of the fish. What else was in that list? Cabbage. What else was in there? Dairy, a bunch of those things. And so to give you some idea on that one, which I still laugh about. So my sister and her family showed up on Friday evening. So we have some salmon and some rice and a nice salad. And then Saturday morning, we have some eggs and bread and some kind of a French toast thing and some bacon and whatever else. We have a nice roast with roasted potatoes and some kind of a salad for supper. And then Sunday morning, we have some kind of scrambled eggs and more protein of some type and some toast. By late Sunday afternoon, I got nothing.
Overdose.
I got nothing. Monday, I take off because I got nothing. Tuesday, I'm in at work, get a phone call, Lana, your food sensitivity results are in. I go to the pharmacy. He hands me the envelope and he goes, I don't think I've seen quite that many red and yellow foods other than my wife's. And I look at the list and egg whites, potatoes, rice, about 6 different common kinds of fish. So start thinking about what I've eaten.
Salmon, potatoes, eggs.
Right.
Gluten. Yep.
Just I was like, OMG. So I cleaned it all up. Makes a world of difference. And now some I can bring back in small quantities. In some it's like, no, still can't do that one. I need to do more healing of my gut, because what's happening is, if you think of your gut lining, what allows into the blood system is cell to cell. And they're here, I'll try it this way. They're pretty snug. Like it takes a really small molecule to sneak through there. Something like that. Well, on mine, because of stress, etc., I was letting in really big molecules. So I'm still in that process of healing it up so that it's nice and tight, so it doesn't let in the big molecules, the big particulates that trigger things. That's a really simplified version, but that's basic.
Wow.
So when you think about so food sensitivities are huge on that list of let's get figured out. And I'm not an advocate for supplementation, but when the body is short, right, you need to get it in somehow. And if I can't eat a certain food, then I've got to supplement some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Like Barbara talking about taking the iron. If she couldn't eat the foods that was there, she would need to supplement that somehow.
Yep. Right. Yep. Absolutely. When your body's that low and it's not absorbing, it's not making use out of it. It's kind of like calcium and magnesium. Lots of people say, oh, you got broken or brittle bones. Go take more calcium. The reality is that more often you're short magnesium because the body needs magnesium to absorb the calcium.
Right. And vitamin D to absorb to absorb the calcium.
Right. They do this really sexy dance back in these vessels of ours. And it's not that you're necessarily short this one. It's the fact that you're short this one, which prevents the absorption of this one. Mm-hmm. You know, it's magnesium. They believe that up to magnesium is, just let me check. They believe that approximately 2% are absolutely deficient, but that 75% of the North American population is not getting enough.
Right. And they're not. And one of the things that I was just reading was that most Western people were not getting enough protein. And yet, what do we eat? We eat chicken, we eat red meat, and yet it's not, our body is not absorbing the protein because we don't have the other things that need to go with it to absorb it.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating article. Fascinating article.
You know, it's like everybody talks, and for whatever reason, I guess it is who I am, but I can remember in high school biology, fat soluble vitamins. So what does the low fat diet phrase do to us? It's pulling fat out of our diet, but in order to make it taste good, we put sugar in.
Yeah.
Not,
do you know, and like the origins, and I just found this out not that long ago, but the whole origin of fat's bad for you. It's not, fat is actually good for you. We need a certain amount of fat. However, the sugar company, sugar industry paid to have fat be broadcasted as the bad thing and sugar go away. So they've actually, it's insane what money can do.
Yep.
It's not for the health.
That was for the American Heart Association, I think was part of that game. I just recently, somebody high up in the US political system, something about aspartame. And aspartame will mimic too much of it in our bodies, and some bodies are more sensitive to it. Well, say it out, Lana. MS type of symptoms.
I've heard that.
And this individual that overruled the FDA for the aspartame died of Alzheimer's.
Wow.
It is known that aspartame will exacerbate that health condition.
Yes.
So,
wow.
And sorry, just to step back for a second to the fats, is that our North American diet, we're supposed to have one omega-3. No, sorry. Yeah, 1-to-1 omega-3 to omega, I don't know how to do six, whatever. A whole bunch, 6s and 9s. Our diet typically is 16 omega-6s and omega-9s to 1 omega-3.
Wow.
We need to reverse that ratio.
Wow.
In order to, because lots of the king of omega-3, I got to interview Udo Erasmus at one point in time, and he was really into this research. And he calls omega-3 the God molecule. It is that important in our body. And we're short it. We're short that omega-3 of a quality source. So just so many aspects of it. I've got a nutrient deficiency guide, and like some of these have to do with, so I consider that low-hanging fruit to start with. Find these micronutrients that you might be short of. Some of them you can do blood work with your local doctor. Some of them you just kind of have to look at your symptoms, because like vitamin D is considered a pretty expensive test in most medical communities' eyes. But things like depression, deliria, migraines, brittle bones, a number of these things, we can make some corrections, some positive shifts just by looking at our micronutrients and figuring that out. And the next big one that I really consider is considering your kryptonites. Figure out your food sensitivities. To really, not that hard. It's not fun to make the changes to your diet, but what a difference it can make in your mental health, in your physical health, and then how you show up for your wealth.
I worked with a guy who's the director of operations of the company before I started my business, and he would he was going through this patch. He was having memory loss. He would pass out in the middle of nowhere. He was having all these issues. They didn't know what was going on. They went through all these different tests, and then same as you, he ended up having that test and finding out that bread and all these things were bad for him, and they were causing those issues. And so it was hard for him to give that stuff up. He loved bread, he loved beer, he loved the different things that he had to give up, but his health afterwards was a night and day difference as soon as he made that shift.
It's just, it's kind of like most of us gals tend to like a glass of wine. I can't do it. I end up with, my sinuses fill up within half a glass usually. I start to sneeze, and if I push through it, I'm going to end up with a migraine. So is that worth it? No.
Yeah. Red wine makes me sneeze.
Yeah.
Sneeze and my nose run.
That's crazy.
So,
It's something in the it's the histamines, something in the wine.
Exactly. And that's part of the food kryptonite list, is that these histamines, for some people, it's like my ex-husband, bless him. I've got a great kid out of the deal. All is good. But his hands used to swell up after drinking beer. He was having an allergic reaction to it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it in the grand scheme of things.
Not worth it.
It's just not. And I love a good cold beer, but I am very careful about my beer sources anymore.
Yeah. Wow. Lana, this has been absolutely amazing. How can people get in touch with you if they want to hear more about what you do?
I wanted to hear more because she mentioned this, and she mentioned this before we went on, and you briefly mentioned this, and I know there's a lot of information that we're going over, and if somebody's listening, especially if they're starting to hear some of these symptoms, tell us about the convention or the event that you have coming up.
Oh yeah, right.
Thank you. I really appreciate that question, and I just get a little tingly even thinking about it. And yes, I'm host of the Triumph Over Adrenal and Chronic Fatigue Conference. So I reached out to a number of players in the health and wellness space, individuals like Dr. Alan Christensen, who wrote the Adrenal Reset Diet, a gentleman by the name of Nathan Crane, who is done a number of cancer documentaries, award-winning in that zone. A gentleman by the name of Nicholas Pinot, who is all about EMF and that stuff. And I am bringing, so it's around the idea of there are aspects of our health. Adrenal and chronic fatigue have this bucket of brain fog and hair loss and moodiness and extremely tiredness, or wired and tired, some of us refer to, or the belly, or some have immune issues. And I've said, okay, this, in the case of some, then adrenal fatigue is their zone, or chronic fatigue is. And our Dr. Carrie Lamb Clinics, how can I forget that lady? Lots of 19 geniuses, and humble little Lana standing on stage, sharing our perspective, sharing our take on it, post trauma, and how that affects us genetically and changes things and how to deal with it. Just, oh my God. So the idea being is a couple speakers a day, those pre-recorded interviews so that we didn't have to fight with technology.
Plan ahead.
Working with it, not against it. Then comes up for 24 hours. Excuse me. Each speaker has offered a gift of information, a gift of help. You have access to that. So it's a free registration concept. fatigueconference.com. Don't put any W's in front of it, just fatigueconference.com. We'll get you to the page. You can register. We'll figure out how to try and get, because it's late in day one, we'll figure out how to get the recordings to you so that you can get back on track. Tomorrow, bright and early, 2 more speakers come on stage, and we'll go through until the 17th, sharing the wisdom sharing the love, sharing the opportunity to connect, to learn, to explore what this. Yes, it's predominantly aimed at women, but some of those conversations, a good portion of those conversations are not exclusively women. Men have stress. Let's just, men have stress. You just have a few different hormones that react somewhat differently in terms of that stress. Whereas my libido goes when there's too much stress, a man's libido tends to go, or a man's functioning tends to drop off with the high blood pressure. But the high blood pressure is probably come from stress and not dealing with it. So we can all benefit from a lot of these tools, and that's what's happening. And I'm just, again, my heart is just overwhelmed with the wisdom that has stepped on stage with me. And there's just so much to share there. And I'm kind of like, okay, based upon this one, I guess I'm doing this twice a year because I just want to share. I just want to share.
Well, and I haven't, so awesome, amazing that you were able to bring all these people together, and you're like just little Lana on the stage, but you're the force that brought all of this together. And I don't hear many other people out there doing this. It's not something that I've heard a lot as far as being a resource to people going through these challenges.
Well, and that's one of the things that when I was trying to figure out my company name, then this Empowering Health Journeys just resonated with me. And I'm still trying to figure out what this model looks like and feels like from that side of it. I just want to help. And I will figure out my system of bringing people in and saying, look, I don't think I'm your zone of genius or zone of help at this moment, but I'm not letting you go until I can pass your hand on to someone else.
That's awesome.
Right.
Just because there are so many wise people and they just want to help. And I'm like, the corners of the world shouldn't have to deal with less healthcare because they don't know. If they're curious and they step into my zone, I don't like the dog with a bone. I'm not letting you go till I know you're in the right hands.
So awesome.
It just is. And that's, it's cool. The conference has been amazing. I've got a different angle that I'll work on in January, but for now, this conference is predominantly adrenal and chronic fatigue and just looking at the symptoms, looking at some ways to manage it. We've got a gal that is meditation. Just really cool stuff. Really
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so easy. fatigueconference.com. We'll get you sorted out. We'll get you get registered, and I'll figure out how to get an email to you to get links to you, and we'll get going. And yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not complicated. My name's pretty unusual, so it's not hard to find me. There's only so many Kirtleys in the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and so one of the gifts that we do for being on the show is I edit a small viewable clip. So not everybody listens to a full hour podcast, but a lot of people will listen to a 1 to 3 minute video clip, and so I will clip out this piece, and so you can share, and we'll put you to the website on as well, so people can go and get people paying attention to this.
And I can share back so that people can find you guys, because I trust, I understand as I've gotten to know you better, that you're just sharing buckets of wisdom, different. You're coming at this from a place of wealth, happiness. I love it. I love it. Let's share.
Yeah, the everyday riches, that we can find riches in everything and anything, but we have to know about them. And that's Jason and I, we both feel the same way.
Yep.
Well, and that's part of adrenal and chronic fatigue recovery is gratitude. The everyday riches, the little buckets, the fact that I woke up today, I should be
Right.
grateful for that. Not everybody
Yes,
got
we
that.
talked about that. Yes.
Yes.
That is a great start. One of the things is that, I was dealing with belly bloat, but I still had to love my body, because to say, oh, I hate this, and oh, you're fat. What's the body gonna say? Oh, she thinks she's fat. Okay, we're fat. Let's just hang on to it, versus saying, you're vibrant, you're alive, you're making this happen. Oh my God, what
Words
can you
matter.
learn today? Whether it's business or personal health and well-being, what can I learn today? What
Right.
can I up level? Not in a intensive, gotta be better, gotta shave 10 seconds off my run today. Just what can I do a little bit better? Just a little bit. That gratitude is huge. Absolutely huge.
I love it. I love it. So I have to share this, because I've been waiting to share
Yep.
this with somebody today. I
Go for it.
literally, we had a great meeting this morning, Barbara, with our collaboration group. And then I had some client sessions, and then I had just a random connection call. And the guy afterwards was like, I want to hire you. I need you. And so I'm walking home from my office, because I can walk to my office for
Nice.
2 minutes. And so I'm walking, and all of a sudden I got this image of like, just confidence, and like, people talk about positive affirmations and just saying the words, and I got this mental image of Muhammad Ali and saying, I'm a bad man. And so I watched the interview of Muhammad Ali after he beat Sonny Liston, and he's like, I shook the world, and just the confidence that guy had. And I listened to it
Yes.
like 10 times, and it's just like, everybody should feel that way sometimes.
Yep.
I'm not saying like going out and being so arrogant, but everybody should feel like, I'm a bad person. I can shock the world. I can shock the world when I put my mind to it. And so we all go through the be humble and stuff like that, but man, sometimes you need to be
Once
able
in
to
a
talk to
while.
yourself and just be like, I'm a bad man.
Well, and I think there's a huge difference between cocky and confident.
Right.
And confident is absolutely stunning, and it takes nobody down in the process of being confident. It's actually more uplifting to the people around you when you're confident. Cocky is demeaning. Cocky squishes somebody around you.
It's competing with somebody else.
Right, exactly. Versus confidence is, I've got this. I've just got this. I'll figure this out. Today's better than yesterday. I'll figure this out.
And in that example, I was pumped up. So I thought of a couple of my clients, and I'm like, you need to hear this today. Like, take this video, like, say it to yourself. Like, I'm a bad person. I'm going to shock the world. And just that swagger, just feeling, enjoy yourself, like, be confident in yourself, no matter if you have the belly bloat or whatever it is. Talk positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
one of the ones that I love is in the movie. I think it's in the movie Staying Alive. At the very last scene, John Travolta says, "I've just got a strut."
There you go. I love it.
And
I
know that feeling. And I can remember saying to myself, I just got a strut. And it was like a friend of mine called it, in for a woman, get your hips going.
There you go.
Get your hips going. Get in touch with your feminine confidence.
Yes.
And I still, once in a while, it's like, okay, I'm going to do a John Travolta and I'm going to strut.
So Barbara, I love it. I love that movie. And it's all about how to get into how to shift your mindset and get out of certain bad times and be able to give yourself a pep talk. And literally, the Bee Gees song in the image of John Travolta at the beginning of that movie, when he's walking down the street with the paint cans, has got the swagger going. That is like, it would shift my mindset.
Yes, absolutely.
Be like John Travolta.
Because he was strutting.
He was strutting.
And to think he's a pilot now, for Qantas. It's like,
and he's also bald, which is crazy.
He's just got a better solar panel, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, me and my wife were just talking about the other day, because we saw him, and it's like, could you imagine a man that was known for his hair, and he's bald, but he looks damn good. Like, he's embraced his bald. He looks really, really good.
Absolutely.
So good for him. Yeah. But that solar panel.
Good. That's good.
Anyway.
So good.
Oh, Lana, we'll have to have you back.
Lana, yeah,
Thank you.
amazing conversation.
Thank you very much
Amazing
for the conversation, for the time on this stage, and the share. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I look forward to further conversations. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yep. Sounds
Well,
good.
you ladies, we've come to our end, and it always surprises me when an hour passes. Like every Wednesday, I'm like, that was an hour. That's pretty crazy. So, phenomenal guests, and Lana, you were one of them, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the time. I really
Okay.
appreciate getting to know both of you. Thank you, Barbara, for opening the door for this.
You're welcome. This has been amazing. Great information. Just, reinforces what I've known, and just to hear it from somebody else too.
Yep.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
so awesomeness.
Awesome.
So
Well, we
this
see
is
you all
Barbara
next
signing
week.
off. Have a great day.
Absolutely.
you.
Talk to you guys next
Bye-bye.
week. Or talk to you.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.